Good morning, everyone. My name is Songhen Yu. Today, I would like to present my research titled Analysis of Revenue Drivers for Alibaba Group from 2020 to 2025. This study examines the key factors that influence Alibaba's revenue performance and identifies the most important drivers of revenue growth. Now, let me start with a brief overview of the study. This study uses quantitative financial data from Alibaba between 2020 and 2025. A total of 24 quantitative observations are collected. Revenue is used as the dependent variable. The independent variables include cost of revenue, sales and marketing expenses, cloud revenue growth rate, and international revenue growth rate. Several analytical methods are used, including descriptive statistics, correlation analysis, regression analysis, VIF testing, random forest, and Power BI. The main finding of this study is that cost of revenue is the most significant revenue driver. Next, let's look at the business problem behind the research. Alibaba has expanded rapidly in recent years. Its business now includes e-commerce, cloud computing, international commerce, and local services. Although Alibaba's revenue has continued to grow, it is still unclear which factors contribute the most to that growth. Different business segments may have different levels of impact on revenue. At the same time, managers need clear evidence to make better business decisions and allocate resources more effectively. This is also a research gap. Many previous studies focus on financial performance or business strategy. Some studies use only the statistic method. However, very few studies combine regression analysis, machine learning, and business intelligence visualization together. Therefore, this study aims to provide more analysis of Alibaba's revenue drivers. Based on the problem, several objectives and research questions were developed. This study has three objectives. The first is to examine the relationship between revenue and selected financial variables. The second is to identify the key revenue drivers. The third is to provide practical recommendations based on these findings. To achieve these objectives, three research questions were developed. The question focused on factors related to revenue, significant revenue drivers, and managerial implications. These objectives and questions guide the entire study. Next, I will explain the research framework. This study shows the research framework used in this study. Revenue is the dependent variable. There are four independent variables. They are cost of revenue, marketing expenses, cloud revenue growth rate, and international revenue growth rate. These variables represent both Alibaba's daily operations and future growth areas. The framework assumes that these variables may influence revenue directly or indirectly. Based on this framework, the data were analyzed using several techniques. This study follows 7 main steps. First, data were collected from Alibaba's annual reports and quarterly reports. Second, descriptive statistics were used to understand the data. Third, correlation analysis was conducted to examine relationships among variables. Fourth, regression analysis was performed to identify significant factors. Fifth, VIF analysis was used to detect multicollinearity. Sixth, random forest analysis was applied to evaluate variable importance. Finally, Power BI was used to visualize business trends and financial performance. After completing these steps, the findings were obtained. Let's now look at the results. This slide presents the descriptive statistics and the dashboard results. The average quarterly revenue of Alibaba was about RMB 219 billion. Revenue showed an overall increasing trend during the study period. The average cost of revenue was about RMB 133 billion and generally increased together with the revenue. The dashboard also shows that cloud revenue and international revenue continued to grow over time. Overall, Alibaba maintained stable growth despite market changes and business challenges. After understanding the overall trend, we can now examine the relationship among the variables. This slide presents the correlation analysis results. The results shows that revenue is positively related to most variables. The strongest relationship is between revenue and cost of revenue. Revenue is also positively associated with marketing expenses, cloud revenue, and international revenue. This means that higher values of these variables are generally linked to higher revenue. However, correlation only shows relationships and cannot confirm which factors actually drive revenue. Therefore, regression analysis was conducted as the next step. This slide presents the regression analysis and results. The model achieved an R-squared value of 0.916. This means that about 91.6% of revenue variation can be explained by the selected variables. Among all independent variables, cost of revenue is the only statistically significant factor. The other variables do not reach the required significance level. This finding suggests that Alibaba's revenue growth is mainly supported by its core business operations and operating scale. To further validate these findings, a machine learning approach was also used. This slide presents the random forest results. These findings are similar to the regression results. Cost of revenue remains the most important variable. Marketing expenses rank second in importance. Cloud revenue growth rate and international revenue growth rate have lower importance sources. An interesting finding is that marketing appears more important in random forest than in regression analysis. This suggests that marketing may influence revenue through more complex relationships. Based on these findings, several measurable implications can be identified. The findings provide several useful insights. First, operational efficiency remains very important because cost of revenue is the strongest revenue driver. Second, marketing activities continue to support revenue growth and customer. Third, cloud computing represents an important future growth opportunity. Finally, international business expansion can help Alibaba diversify its revenue sources and reduce reliance on a single market. These findings can support future business planning and strategic decision-making. This leads to the final part of the presentation. To conclude, this study identified the key factors influencing Alibaba's revenue performance from 2020 to 2025. The results show that cost of revenue is the most important revenue driver. Marketing expenses also plays an important role, especially from the machine learning perspective. Although cloud computing and international business continue to grow, their contribution to total revenue remains relatively limited during the study period. Based on these findings, Alibaba should continue improving cost management, optimizing marketing investments, strengthening cloud innovation, and expanding its international businesses. Thank you very much for your attention. This is the end of my presentation.